Join us for the very first IFL Live at London's Indigo at the O2, Sunday, August the 13th, with me, Coogan Cassius, and some very special guests. Eddie Hearn, Darren Barker, Johnny Fisher, and more. Tickets now on sale. So in the words of Eddie Hearn,
you get up, you dress up, and you fucking show up.
This is Colin McGuigan for IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. It's been a long time, Kalle. How have you been?
It has been, mate. It hasn't been a long time for me in IFL, but long time with you. You been well?
I've been good, mate. I've been good. I've been doing these US shows, so
Yeah,
Nashville on this one. Big show here in Nashville. How excited are you to bring it here to Mam's hometown?
Yeah, the hometown of Mams, the hometown of Prime, the hometown of country music. Don't quite know the link there, but yeah, I like a bit of country. No, listen, Nashville's a great city. It's a booming city. It's a trending city. It's the sort of city where Misfits belongs. And hey, here we are. I'm looking up at the stage. I still can't quite believe what I'm reading. Survivor Tag. I was thinking on the plane down, if Survivor Tag doesn't really do it justice, I think we have to change it to Survivor something, because tag, it's not really tag. I know they tag each other, but tag, you think they're on two teams. Yeah. It's last man standing. Survivor, last man standing. I've got to think about that name still, because
last man standing survival.
It's basically man against man. There's only one winner. It's not a team, and it's last man standing. So if you get knocked down, you're out. That's pretty much the simple way of describing it in a nutshell.
You're a boxing purist. Are you involved in the conversations of these type of...
I'm a boxing promoter. I didn't say I was a boxing purist.
Well, you are. You've grown up around boxing, right?
I think you know, things that are signed off by the commissions, by the medical authority, that's... You know, these are ultimately game changers. We saw it with tag team. That worked very well in February this year over in the UK. I do believe that boxing will change... And not totally its format. I'm not saying we should drop 12 rounds and that, but we can laugh about it. But the kids coming through, watching it, you know, they don't get 12 rounds. It's very difficult for them to concentrate for 12 rounds. Anyone who's got a kid knows what I'm talking about. And ultimately, that's the future. So how will boxing survive with consumer bases when we're all gone? That don't want to see 12 rounds. Cricket's done it. A lot of other sports have done it. UFC's 5 rounds. Okay, 5 minutes, but I wouldn't like to see boxing go longer than 3 minutes a round. I think that's the right length of a round. But maybe we'll see shorter formats. Maybe we'll see Survivor Tag over on the pro side of things. You know, I don't know. And Misfits are going out there and doing things that, and they're not all going to work. Like, so far, got very lucky with mystery opponents, and it's worked well. You know, the first tag team could have been boring and a load of rubbish, and we all said, "Oh, stupid Misfits." Well, you know, you've got to sometimes you got to try things out, new formats in a safe environment, as safe as boxing can ever be. And try stuff that might just rub off on the pro world as well. But you know, the eyeballs that the tag team did, I'm sure there was a few purists watching that, hoping it would fail, and probably quite enjoyed it. You know, again, it's not boxing; it's crossover boxing. Clear differentiation there.
I spoke to Eddie Hearn last week in Detroit. I'm sure you heard his comments about it was in reaction to the girl getting her boobs out, and he made some comments. You have a good relationship with Eddie, but what did you make of those comments?
I think he got it himself a bit mixed up. I don't, you know, he's talking about something that happened on a Kingpin show, got absolutely zout to do with us. It's like me talking about something that goes on a De La Hoya show and blaming Eddie for it. I think it was a slip of the tongue. I'm hoping it was a slip of the tongue. But you know, everyone's allowed an opinion. We all know Eddie's got a few opinions. Some I agree with, some I don't. But why Misfits was mentioned in that same sentence is a bit abstract. What I would say to that incident was, listen, I've been on the pro side of the sport for 23 years. I've had tables thrown out over me I've had lamping rigs thrown at opponents. I've had, I don't know, chases through hotels with Derek back in the day and against Pulev in Hamburg. Never forget that. Actually, 2 of the 3 stories I just mentioned were involved with Del Boy. But at the end, if that would have happened on our show, she wouldn't have got paid. It's as simple as that.
She wouldn't have been paid at all.
Been paid? Absolutely not. It's a clear breach of contract, brings the company into disrepute, and that is in every contract we do on the professional side of things, and also on the crossover side of things. In fact, on the crossover side of things, the contracts are even stricter on that. And getting your boobs out clearly is not quite what we are signed up to get. At the same time, I've had a pint passed to me on stage by El Brook. Quite enjoyed that. We've had some outrageous. We've had fish thrown about. We've had all sorts, but that's part of this space. Yeah, and again, it's not boxing; it's crossover boxing. Yeah, but getting your boobs out, especially when I don't know, my kids come to the events and stuff, so it's like I think that clearly isn't something that we welcome and want to see. At the same time, they're all. They're all mad. It's misfits and it's a crazy world, and we can't be sure what some of them do. But at the same time, we won't be paying. Yeah, and that ultimately is normally the best weapon you have to protect yourself in professional sport or entertainment or whatever you want to call it.
Move on to real boxing. Chris Eubank Jr., Liam Smith done. At any stage, was it likely that it was going to be Conor Benn?
Cole, you are an intelligent human. Are you still asking me these questions after it's been announced?
I just want to know from...
Let me ask you a question. How can I answer that question about... It's like me saying, is he a good driver and he hasn't got a licence? Am I supposed to know? I don't know. He hasn't got a licence in the UK, so all the questions and all the time it took to do the 4th scheduled date for this was around the fact that we'd been mucked about 3 times. And when I say mucked about, I mean, sure, it was an injury. An injury in the sport is, of course, something that's unavoidable. It's part of boxing. The other 2, weren't buying them. And that, of course, like I said last week, led to the trust levels being at an all-time low. And we needed some assurances, and it's a fight that everyone wants to see. Everyone's curious. And September the 2nd, Manchester Arena. It's going to be a hot night.
The reason why I ask is because I've been on the road for a few weeks, right? I'm interviewing Eddie, I'm interviewing Frank, right?
The internet in America doesn't work, no.
But when I'm speaking to them,
what the questions, I get once, but
we were led to believe.
I'm in a business where you look at the options and you go for an option. How is Conor Benn an option if he hasn't got a licence? He's got a hearing on. What am I supposed to do? Wait for, assume that the judge is going to go one way or the other and base a fighter who's this year has been messed around for 3 months, and then I should double guess what's happening in a court case, let's call it, which I know nothing about. I'm not sitting in the courtroom every day thinking, this might go that way, and next week we can expect a decision. I don't know anything about it, you don't know anything about it. I'm guessing also that the Matchroom side know very little about it because it's a private Conor Benn hearing. So no one knows about it. So for me, which by the way, is all wrong as well, but that's a separate issue. That's a problem for everyone should be, part of that hearing, in my opinion, because then we might not all be having our own opinions based on something that we don't know much about, or in fact we know nothing about.
Well, from interviewing Frank and Eddie, they were leading us to believe in the public through the conversations we were having that the Benn fight is more lucrative to Eubank and yourself, and that you were kind of under the impression that there would be.
Not tonight now.
But you were under the impression there would be a result.
Go cash in a lottery ticket, but the lottery ticket don't exist because you haven't entered the lottery, or the lottery doesn't exist. It's something that you can only, you know, I don't know, maybe I'm just seeing this all wrong, but I can't have, how can people ask me about the Benn fight if it wasn't on the table? It's not like it, you know, that fight was being negotiated, it fell through. It can't have been negotiated because it wasn't there. So it wasn't a question of, do you want to do Smith or Benn? You know, and by the way, Eubank, Smith, despite the lucrativity, you've got to say, people always say, oh, Eubank's this and Eubank's that. He was very, very made up to. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's got scores to settle with Mr. Benn. If he gets his license back, you know, he'll certainly do that. But at the same time, you know, he's got a score to settle also with Liam following January's.
What does he have to do different this time around, Chris Eubank Jr.?
It's all in the preparation. I think it's in the approach. Same time, you could say you have the best preparation in the world. You know, boxing is a funny old game. You get hit by a shot. You know, as Mike Tyson said, we all got plans to get punched in the face. But we all know that really Junior didn't look himself that night. You know, did the weight coming in the weight wrong? It was a pound under again. You know, we talk about him struggling for weight with the Benn fight, but he's come in the last two fights a pound under the middleweight limit. So was that the weight cut? I don't know. He doesn't. But that's something that, you know, it's one for him and his team, and they've got to look at that and look at the approach from last time. And you can, you know, it's about the approach and how that approach changes on this fight, I guess.
Fraser Clark, Dave Allen on the undercard, is it likely?
Nothing to do with me. So, yeah, Fraser Clark wants to fight Dave Allen on the undercard. I like it. It's a good fight, yeah.
Have you heard of any other fights that will be on this undercard? Is there any Wasserman fighters that we'll see on the undercard?
Yeah, we're talking about doing a survivor tag on there.
You look very serious when you say that, you know.
I'm trying to look serious. I don't know. We'll see. It's fresh off the paper yesterday. We're talking about what we can mix and match on the undercard. Be a cracking night of boxing, I'm sure.
Two more from me. Wasserman show tomorrow night in Edinburgh. Big chance for Harlem Eubank. Where does he go next after this if he does get the win?
You want to start with Harlem. Harlem's, you know, like I said, he's going fight to fight. Harlem Eubank. It's just improving with Adam under the Adam Booth training regime. So, you know, there's some interesting fights, but he's got to get through tomorrow night. But you can't look past the main event and look at, you know, Lee McGregor, IBO world title up in Scotland, big fight for Scotland. So yeah, incredible. The guest list at ringside tomorrow night. I don't know. It's really
in Scotland.
Yeah, it's really taken off.
Give us some names that'll be there.
I'll tell you tomorrow the full list.
Okay, full list tomorrow. KSI Tommy Fury. KSI Tommy Fury, rumoured to be announced this week. Spoke to Mams yesterday. Didn't give too much away. Are we likely to get that announcement this week?
We're close. You know, I put a tweet out last week. I'm working on 3 big fights. That was last Friday. Out of my room in Newcastle, I was bored, took a selfie and said, right, this is my office for the day. I'm working on 3 big fights. Since then, we've done Hrgovic McKean. We've done Eubank Smith 2. Smith Eubank, sorry. And there's one other one. So is it that one?
Kalle, thank you very much for your time. Look forward to
that, by the way.
Is there?
There's going to be a twist.
In what way?
Not around that fight, but
the event?
If it pulls off the event, yeah. You're going to...
A twist in what way, though?
A massively positive twist. If we can pull off what we want to pull off, whoa, that's a sign.
There is thunder.
Yeah, that was John Fury. That was John. That was Big John. Did you hear the thunder? That was Big John. We're going to put something on that's going to melt the internet.
I'm way too interested. You need to give us a bit more, Kalle. Come on.
Yeah, just like names in that space. Just going to see this is going to top anything that's ever been done in that space. It's going to absolutely... Does it
involve Logan Paul?
It's going to absolutely fucking melt the internet. That's what I'm going to say right now.
Kalle, thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it, mate.
Thank you, mate.
Join us for the very first IFL Live at London's Indigo at the O2, Sunday, August the 13th, with me, Coogan Cassius, and some very special guests. Eddie Hearn, Darren Barker, Johnny Fisher, and more. Tickets now on sale. So in the words of Eddie Hearn,
You get up, you dress up, and you fucking shut up.